You actually posted on your or Instagram or your TikTok recently that you dropped about $1.2 million overnight, and that why you weren't worried. Can you explain like what sort of mindset you have to be in to not be affected by that?
Yeah, and I remember the post. It was a good hook.
Yeah, it
So,
was. It
it
got
was.
me.
I've lost $1.2 million. Now, it wasn't overnight. It was over, I think, a month period,
Yeah.
right? And so what we've seen recently is a decline in asset values, in digital asset values. And so on paper, of course, I've lost $1.2 million, but you would only lose that, of course, if I sell, right? Physically sell the digital assets. Now, I think to your question, it's the mindset behind how can I look at that number and not freak out? Is that where you're getting to, Ted?
Yes, yes, correct.
I think it's a couple of things. One, having conviction in the asset class. Now, I've done a lot of research. I've read all the famous books, the Bitcoin Standard, Bitcoin Evangelism, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, I'm on a reading binge. Anything that's got Bitcoin written on it or something, I'm like, buy that book.
Nice.
And you have to read the Bitcoin Standard. And my goal coming into the space is I'm already thinking 20, 30, 40 years down the road. I'm expecting the price volatility up and down. So when I see that on paper, negative, 1.2 million, I'm like, that's totally fine. Keeping in mind, when I first got into the market, I was declining all the way down, right? I was buying, it was going down, buying, it was going down. So the other point I want to make too for people is that when they're buying into the market, they shouldn't be using money that they need for rent
Mm-hmm.
or for the mortgage payment, right? So you're putting money in that's really excess money. I don't need this money, and I don't foresee me needing this money for the next maybe 1 to 2 years. I would say at least, preferably 4 years. So then when you do see these market corrections, and if you do go into the negative on your portfolio, you're not worried about it because you don't have to sell the asset anyway. I know a lot of people though, Ted, when the markets do come down, there's that pit in your stomach. You're like, oh, should I have sold? When like, and then you go through this mindset of when it goes back up again, I'm definitely selling it. Right.
Yeah.
It's going to take out my initial investment and then I'm good. But of course, probably what happens is you don't. It goes back up again, you forget about the dip. And there's now talk again about, no, we're actually going up another 50%. Everything's fantastic, money printers on, etc.
Yeah. Oh, the amount of times I've heard our producer Daniel talk about do that exactly what you said, where he's talking about as soon as it goes up, I'm selling for good, and then it never happens. So,
Yeah.
nah, you're spot on with
We've
that
all
one.
been there.
Sorry, Dan,
Yeah.
just to call you out. No, I wanted to sort of pivot a little bit. So, on your TikTok, you've got some like reaction videos, which are really engaging. So, anyone to go check it out. But you react to some of like the wild claims that people are making about crypto on TikTok. Do you have any examples of like completely outrageous claims that people are making on there?
Wild claims. I mean, obviously those reaction videos are done to get reactions, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I do see some crazy things on there, I guess, but it's probably more from the altcoin space, I think. And, for example, I'll just tell you one scenario. I made some comments about XRP.
Mm.
Okay. Now, I used to hold XRP. I sold XRP. Now, in hindsight, I should have just kept XRP because it's been pumping recently, right? But I started to move away from things that I didn't fundamentally believe in. And if XRP guys are watching, I'm very sorry. Please don't hurt me. But I copped so much flack from the XRP army. These guys are completely engaged. And I say I'm pretty religious in Bitcoin. These guys are over the top zealots in XRP. And you say anything negative, they will come after you. And it was good for the algorithm. I would say that. It was good for the algorithm. They came in absolutely slaughtering me. I think some of the claims in XRP are maybe not going to come to fruition. But hey, who am I? Maybe they will. I don't know. So I don't have any money invested in it now. I still believe that Bitcoin is the answer. Yeah. So if people come into the space now, I always say to people, just buy Bitcoin, forget about everything else. I mean, even though I've got some other things, but I say, look, just keep it simple. Dollar cost average into Bitcoin and just forget about it.